India is a 3.7 trillion market. This puts India as the fifth largest economy by nominal GDP. If you look inside the country, few states have been generating the major portion of GDP. States like Maharashtra, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, and Gujarat generate most of the revenue for the country. On the lower side of the list, we have states like Bihar, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, and others which are actually lesser growth states. What is wrong with these states? And what is right with the growth states? Let's get to the bottom of it in this analysis. Before I get into the analysis that matters, let's understand the basics of GDP. GDP is a major metric to evaluate how the state is performing. Just like how we have performance reviews in corporate jobs. Broadly, there are two types of calculations in the GDP. Number one is GDP constant prices. And the number two is GDP current prices. GDP constant prices is also called as real GDP because it is the real value of goods and services produced within the borders of a state. They take a base year and calculate the quantity and the value of goods and services produced. When there is more production, that's when the real GDP increases. If there is no production, then it stays constant. But the GDP current prices changes whenever there is a change in the value of goods and services. When the value goes up, prices go up, which is inflation. Naturally, nominal GDP, also called as the GDP current prices, increases. This is what we mean when we say India reaches a 3.7 trillion market. To give you an example, here is the graph of Karnataka's GDP in the past 10 years. The lower graph is actually the real GDP, which doesn't include inflation. The bigger bars are actually the current prices, which actually increases way beyond the real GDP. Now, coming to the analysis part, let's begin with the growth states. Maharashtra has always been on top of the GDP list. Only reason for this is Mumbai, the financial capital, economic capital, business capital, or entertainment capital of India. The city has a 24/7 culture which leads to business operations round the clock. Starts from Mumbai International Airport, which is the most active airport in India. This is the city that never sleeps. The hotel industry is operational all the time. You might be asking, why Mumbai? Why not all these things in other states like Karnataka or Tamil Nadu? Geographically, if you see, Mumbai is located at the sweet spot. It helps both domestic and international trade, especially the advantage of Arabian Sea and Gulf region. From the stock market, big financial institutions, leading industries to entertainment, Mumbai is actually the base of economic growth. The second largest economy in India is Tamil Nadu. It is the most urbanized and industrial state because it has a very strong industrial base, which also makes it one of the highest export states in India. It also has the highest number of factories in India. It is because of two main reasons. One is the geographical advantage for international trade, and the second one is economic policies of the government. The economic policies of the state are pro-industrial development, and the government is also aiming to be the best investment destination in the world. The next growth state is Karnataka. Karnataka is the IT capital of India because it has the highest IT exports in India with $53 billion. Most of these exports are from the Silicon Valley of India, which is Bangalore, which is also known as the startup hub because it has the highest number of startups. Largely, this is because of the vision and economic policies of the Congress government. Chief ministers like S.M. Krishna have played a major role in the economic growth, and that has built the foundation for IT sector for Karnataka. We don't need to talk much about Gujarat because they already have enough publicity. Largely, one thing that has led to Gujarat model is privatization. The government came up with new policies to boost large private players to build massive infrastructure. In a way, it is a good thing because the government doesn't have that much money for massive infrastructure, but leaning towards private players affects funds for public uplifting like education sector, health, or employment for the masses. Now let's look at the low growth GDP states, especially Bihar, Jharkhand, and Chhattisgarh. Bihar is one of the concerning states in India. It is not just low in GDP growth, but also the poorest state in India with the lowest per capita income. If we compare Bihar with the growth state like Tamil Nadu, the gap between Tamil Nadu and Bihar is big, and the distance keeps increasing. The main problem for this is underdevelopment in the key areas. Bihar is largely dependent on services sector. Highest GDP of Bihar comes from services sector. This ratio is not good, but their labor force ratio is even worse. 56% of their labor force is in agricultural sector, but the GDP from agriculture is just 20%. Bihar not only needs to work on the labor force, but also needs to work on the development in key areas such as agriculture and industrial sector. Similar story is Jharkhand. Jharkhand is a new state that got separated from Bihar on November 15, 2000. The problem with Jharkhand is one side there is a lot of natural resources. Actually, more than 40% of mineral resources of entire India is here. The economic policies are heavily dependent on this, but the population is still suffering from below poverty line. This is also because of the political instability. If this natural gift was in states like Karnataka or Tamil Nadu, they would have turned this into gold mine. That is another reason why this graph comparison with Tamil Nadu has a lot of difference. Lastly, let's look at Chhattisgarh, another state that got separated on November 1st, 2000 from Madhya Pradesh. Geographically, this entire region is covered with forests. Even after getting separated from Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh is in the list of largest forest cover. Chhattisgarh is also called as the rice bowl of India. This state is rich in natural resources, especially coal mining. Talking about coal mining, I have made a detailed video about Adani, Chhattisgarh and coal mine and how Adani built his coal empire. You can watch that video right after this. But coming back to Chhattisgarh, which is the third largest coal reserve in India, there is surplus in electricity production. Even after all this, why GDP is getting affected? If we compare Chhattisgarh with growth state like Karnataka, you can see there is a huge gap. The main reason for this is nature itself. Nearly 80% of the people live in the rural side. Most of these villages are located closer to forest areas. It actually becomes difficult to build connectivity and access to resources for all these villages. To conclude this video, the growth and well-being of a state is largely dependent on the political stability, vision and socio-economic policies of the state. Well, this is the analysis that matters from my side, but your opinion matters even more. Write your comments below, and if you're not subscribed yet, please do subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.